about the heat. And rightfully so. It's really uncomfortable. But I think it's so easy for us to just automatically go into a negative space of complaining and not showing gratitude for the fact that, my God, I'm alive to breathe this air that is hot and humid, but give it a week here in Cincinnati and it'll be nice and cool. That's how it is around here. You wait a week and it changes. But yeah, I feel like we're always so quick to complain, and then we forget those that are battling some big major atrocities right now, like volcanoes. I mean, I don't have those here. I don't have to worry about anything awful taking over my home like that, or risking my environment and my fresh air. The wildfires that are all over the place right now, severe drought kicking in, and like I said, winter storms. And I think the reason that I mention this is really because I just want, if nothing else, to leave a message this week of gratitude, and to realize that no matter how difficult it may seem, it could always be worse, but it can always be better. And it's all in your perception and how you choose to think about it. You do have the choice in how you react to these situations. You do have a choice in what you allow to trigger you. Trigger is the word of the day today, because trigger is something that can cause us to react. It can cause us to react with a strong emotion, with strong energy. And it's a great segue. Before I leave it, though, I just want to say, just try and be grateful and think of those that are suffering, that are really struggling, and be grateful for your situation, but pray for those and send them love, send them healing, just by setting the intention of please send them love, send them healing, universe, God, spirit, whatever you believe in, and setting that intention is critical. It really can make a difference, even if you don't know how else to send healing, or if you don't believe in prayer, you can still make a difference. So intention and trigger are two important things to lead me into my next topic that I'd like to talk about today. But no matter what you're struggling with, understand that it is real and it's okay. It's okay to feel the way that you do. It's still your problem. It's still your issue that you're dealing with, or your inconvenience, or a real circumstance. So don't dishonor that. It's okay to honor that, but let it go after you try and look at changing it for the positive and not allowing it to trigger you. So something that I've noticed a lot lately, in social media groups and with people that I've been doing readings for, is there's a lot of, with all these other circumstances going on around us right now, life being quite a struggle and shifts in energy that are happening, I'm seeing a lot of people getting triggered very easily, myself included. I am definitely one to struggle with this as well. But that are easily triggered by little things that really shouldn't be that big of a trigger for us, but something in our past as a child, or even in a past life, is so ingrained in us that all it takes is somebody to do something very small that wouldn't affect the person next to you or the next 5 people, but all of a sudden it triggers an immediate response for you. It may be a very strong emotional response. It may be grief immediately, sudden grief. It may be panic, anxiety. It could be a lot of different things. But what we don't realize is a lot of times it's only natural for us, when we feel those strong emotions, to feel like a victim, rather than stop and look at, why is this triggering me? Because this trigger, this response that comes up in me, is actually a really good learning tool. It's a warning sign of something below the surface that is affecting you in a strong way. It may sit below that surface for years and not surface, and then come out of the blue one day and turn into a huge emotional wreckage of a problem for you, or it may keep just sitting there right below the surface, bubbling, like waiting to explode for the next trigger and the next trigger, and it keeps resurfacing. But here's the problem. If you don't take a look at it and pay attention to what it's trying to tell you, it's going to keep coming back. It's not going to settle down. The other thing is, when you are triggered by something that somebody else does to you, or you perceive it as they are doing it to you, that's your perception. And the other person may not have had that intention of trying to upset you or trigger you in any way, shape, or form. And it might have been the farthest thing from their mind. But because of pre-programmed beliefs and weaknesses that we've developed and pain and suffering from our past that dealt with these types of issues, we have a preconceived notion that when somebody brings up that word or says something that way or acts passive-aggressive, that they must have a hidden intention or an intention of trying to harm us, or they're wanting to trigger us, where they may be coming from a completely different outlook and not even know that that's what you're thinking. And I've seen that a lot lately with the stress that's going on in our lifetime right now, with everything that people are struggling with. I think it's really important to stop and look at what is triggering us. We tend to get triggered really quickly, and we tend to jump to conclusions that that person is out to get us, or they meant to hurt us. But when you stop and you look at that trigger and you ask yourself, what is that trying to teach me? Why? When else in the past has this come up? What caused it then? How did I react then? And how did that work for me? Did it go over well? Why is it coming back again? If you start asking yourself those questions, especially in meditation, and you can ask your spirit guides for help to realize what this is trying to tell you, or you can pray about it and ask for assistance through prayer. Once you start to do that, you may get an immediate answer that comes to you right away. It may be with time it comes out and becomes more obvious to you. But once we start to acknowledge it and really asking questions about it, we tend to be able to release the negative energy that is surrounding that issue and that trigger. And oftentimes, just by acknowledging it and asking questions, we can actually put that trigger to bed. So change that I could love her as much as I do, but I really do, despite having never really gotten to know her on the other side.
Applicants. The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
Was the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You and your family are connected by routine, and you stick to it. But what if a disaster strikes without warning? What if your day's routine is disrupted and you can't reach your family? Have you planned for that? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Psst, it's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and if you think I'm just going to keep ticking away, you're wrong. I can quit whenever I want, but I like my job. Just treat me better. Maybe we can do some exercise on occasion? After all, we're in this together.
Don't let your heart quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
I'm John, a volunteer at United Way. Now, I'm here at Lincoln Elementary School to find out what this place needs. Who knows better about what kids need than kids, right? Let's ask them.
Monsters! Lasers! A pool! Another guinea pig! More lasers! Sprinkles!
I was thinking more spinach at lunchtime and maybe more exercise.
Nah. Lasers are cool.
When it comes to creating healthier communities, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to UnitedWay.org, because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
A1R Psychic, Metaphysical and Wellness Radio. A breath of fresh air. This is A1R, a product of Positive Peak.
You're listening to A1R Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watching Moonstruck TV, enlightening television. Welcome. It's time for the Vibe Channel with Angel Confetti. Live from the VibeChannel.com. Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page, facebook.com/psychic radio.
Or one of our websites,
askoneradio.com or moonstruck.tv. This is the Vibe Channel on A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vibe Channel with Angel Confetti, aka the channel. That's me. We're welcoming you this evening. I am so glad that you joined us. You are probably listening to us on A1R Psychic Radio, or possibly Moonstruck TV, or one of our other apps. But we are so glad, no matter how you listen or watch us, that you are here with us this week. Hopefully you're having a really good week. Here it has been extremely hot again. We got a little bit of relief, but I'll tell you what's been driving me more crazy than all this heat is this full moon. Oh my gosh. I hope that you have been receiving these energies gently and that you've been taking care of yourself, but this full moon that we have been having for the last 24 hours here has been bringing in some really big energy shifts. And if you've been feeling a little out of it, possibly fatigued more than usual, maybe having shifts of energy that go from one extreme to the next. One moment you have lots of energy and you're motivated to get a lot done, and then the next minute you're just wiped out, not sleeping well, or sleeping way too much, little dizzy, headaches. All of that can be natural and normal from these energy shifts. So just make sure you take extra good care of yourself, get the rest that you need, drink lots of water, eat healthy, and it'll help make it minimize the symptoms. But it's a good thing because we're bringing in positive, higher vibrational energies that are going to help us actually release a lot of the old stuff that we don't need any longer and bring in and make room for a more incredible life for ourselves. So I hope that you're not suffering too much, but if you didn't know that's what was causing it, hopefully that gives you some peace of mind to know that it's not just you. Full moons really do make people crazy, sometimes in a good way, sometimes not. But it will be moving out here soon, just in time for new stuff to come through, right? That's how it always works. But what we're going to do this week is I have a little topic that I'd like to talk about, and the theme of this show this week is called, What's Your Sign? Now, back in the 80s and 90s, the funny, hilarious comedian I am a big fan of, Jeff Foxworthy, had an entire line of comedy shows that he did about around the theme of here's your sign or what's your sign. He worded it different ways based on what he was saying with that particular show, but they even created music videos around it, all kinds of merchandise, and it became a really funny hit for their comedy show that he did with several other comedians as well. And that's always kind of stuck with me, and whenever I hear, here's your sign or what's your sign, I think of that. And it really helps with a particular topic that I think is really important for us to talk about spiritually. And that is, wouldn't it be great if we had a sign written right across our forehead that let people know what to expect from us? To let them know what kind of a person we are, what kind of ethics we have, what kind of morals code we live by, whether we'll be a good friend or a good employee or a horrible boyfriend. Whatever the case is, it would make life much easier, right? Well, unfortunately, we don't. And we have to judge people whether we want to or not based on first impressions and what they give us with their actions and their words. But it's crazy because we go through life using signs from the time that we're born, sometimes before we're even born. Like, as an infant, a newborn in the hospital, we're immediately given a name, and it's written on a little card that then is put in our bassinet so that everybody in the nursery, all the caregivers, and everybody knows that this is baby Confetti, this is baby Lawrence, or whoever your name, the baby is. Everybody knows. Even mom is given a bracelet, which is another sign stating that this is the baby's mom. Sometimes dad gets one. The baby gets an ankle one or a wrist bracelet saying who they are. So we use signs to state our names. At school, children have their names printed on their desks the first week of school. A little sign stating who sits here, who this desk belongs to. But then we oftentimes put their names on their doors of their rooms, or hang a sign with their name or even their picture in their room. Then as we get older, we have nameplates at our office, at our desk, and we even make little signs this big called business cards that tell people about what type of business we do, the name of our business, some of our credentials. We use signs to give our credentials, to show what we've earned in the form of a degree, a certification, a driver's license. All of these things give valuable information about who we are. So when we get pulled over by the police or we have to apply for a job, we hand these signs to the police or the employer to show them who we are. It's something a little more credible than just the words coming from your mouth. And yet, we have no other way to know somebody until we have to actually engage with them and experience their actions to find out who they truly are underneath everything, and often underneath a facade and a face that they put on that isn't even really who they are. And we don't really see who they truly are till much too late sometimes in a relationship with them, or whatever type of relationship. But here's the point of all of this. Even though some people, most of the time we don't have that kind of a sign written across our forehead, oftentimes people are more honest about who they are than we realize. And they may stand us up or break a date, or same thing as standing up, but I mean even a job, call in sick their first week of work, or